Good evening. Welcome to the 130th edition of the Issues Room. We're back here again with another presentation. Great to be back. I'm hoping that all of you will join us tonight as we go through some of the trending issues coming out of Liberia. And again, we say welcome to this production. I'm Volcano Shelton. Thank you, Virgin Monu, for tagging along here with us tonight. Please invite others to join us here as we, go through these very pertinent discussions. Redmond Clark, thank you also for joining us. The 130th edition comes your way this Tuesday, the 21st of February, and it's a little over past 7 o'clock. And again, we like to encourage you all over the world to join us from Liberia, from Africa, and other parts, as I said, of the world. The Issues Room is the alternative social media platform that comes your way to discuss the things that matter, but particularly to Liberia, the African continent, and that of the Black diaspora. We'd like to encourage you to share the link, to invite others to join us here, love us, like us, and follow us. We are the alternative here on social media. As you can see, there have been a lot of Rick Monroe, like in the Liberian parlance, and a lot of, noise going around with regards to some of the platforms having to, go through their own internal rifts and crisis. But we hope that you can find a place here in the Issues Room to join us as we continue these conversations as we move forward to our national elections. This evening, we'll be covering three important issues. We'd like to look at the hasty, nature of the House trying to pass or have passed the 2023 national budget. And so it's a great discussion. In fact, there was a lot of hullabaloo going through the corridors and in the chambers regarding the hastiness of certain people rushing to pass and vote this national budget with all of the, issues with it. We're also going to be looking at the Minister of Public Works, Ruth Collins, was not able to clearly articulate what was apportioned in the budget, in the national budget for the Ministry of Public Works. One figure say 59 million, another figure say 55 or 54 million. So we'll be looking at that. And we'll also be looking at the issue with the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, as they themselves also delayed in probing the scandal involving 800,000 United States dollars that was provided by the United States government for healthcare needs in Margibi County. So a lot of conversations here tonight. So I'd like to say welcome, share the link, invite others. I see the numbers going up, and this conversation is for you because these are the kinds of people that are running your country. And every day we wake up, it's nothing but corruption, 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 corruption. And that is why the country seems to be standstill or at a standstill or regressive. Moses Sandy, do you agree with me that Liberia is in a standstill or regressing? Because look at what is happening every day. It has to do with money's matter.
The country is retrogressing every day, as a result of the absence of, an effective leadership. So the country is retrogressing every day. It is undebatable. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are others who claim to have, the biggest budgets. There's more roads compared to what was ever there. I kind of looked at the 13,000 kilometer of roads that the Public Works Minister talked about in her presentation, and how much was accounted for by President Weah and what was met there. It seemed as though they have made it appear as he is the only one who has really provided more roads compared to 1847 to 2017. And 13,000 kilometer in conversion is about 8,000, almost 9,000 miles of road. Okay, and so that's considerable amount overall in the country. But when we talk about road, we also want to talk about the grades of roads, what those roads are, the maintenance, the durability, and all of that. But it's a whole nother thing. But we're just talking about where people are praising themselves, but yet we can see at all, you know, sectors being impacted by this pandemic called corruption, and is so soaked in this era, and you can see it. It's felt, it's tasted, it's smelt, it's seen. Okay,
Mhm.
and you can put the five senses to it, and it will still make sense, because that's what happening. You see guys who had nothing the other day, they are all overnight millionaires, and this is the modus operandi that we have to deal with in these first 6 years, and the expectation is to continue this trend if this president becomes president again for another 6 years. So Moses, welcome,
And
welcome, and welcome.
thank you. And before I can even say anything much, let me just add on to what you said regarding this whole claim about the Weah administration constructing more roads in Liberia as compared to previous administration. That's absolutely a falsehood. Unfortunately, we have a minister of public works who appeared before the Senate. She could not articulate that. The president reported a different number in terms of the number of roads bill, and she misrepresented what the president said. So, Volcano, it is very difficult to lie. How can Mr. Weah claim to have built more roads as compared to Salif administration, Wolinara Torbo, Dortmund administration, Samuel Dole, Charles Taylor, and all of these other people? And we see things happening in the country. Everything seems to be on autopilot. You have a man who has no clue, and he's taking all this credit. It's just unfortunate,
Yeah.
you know.
Uh, but let's go into our conversation tonight, and you and I know that why they're giving these numbers, and as we'll come to that part of the conversation
Sure.
where I
Hmm.
would rather like to talk about Mr. Toy, and his role doing that presentation. But we see where they continue to create this grandiosity around what they have accomplished
Hmm.
and what they're yet to accomplish. And that is why I say sometimes most of these guys are diagnosed with fantastica pseudologia, where they continue to make believe that they are there with, whatever they think they are accomplishing, and what is the reality, the stark reality in the country. We're not saying that, of course, this president has not done anything within the 5 years. But when they have equated him to the best president Liberia has ever seen, and what he's done overall surpasses since 1847 to now, Ria cannot even read his own national anthem, needless to say, sing it from his heart.
Yeah.
He can only put his right hand on his chest and murmur the words.
Yeah.
You understand me? I bet President Weah right now, since he made all his songs, let him call me right now and sing the national anthem without looking on a piece of paper. But then you equate this man to be
Yeah.
as president. So
Yeah.
where is the legacy? Where's the legacy? Is the legacy aligned with leadership, or is the legacy aligned with what he accomplished in soccer? So they decided to pass the national budget. And you and I know that there was a lot of ferocity around it by some of the uh, lawmakers, and I would believe they are in the opposition. They
Mhm.
felt that there was a lot of things happening with this budget. It was not clearly, defined to be passed, and they wanted to really look at it from the perspective of fine combing it, because you can see where Dillon began the process as he probed the current public works minister. So let's go to the clip and hear, for those of our viewers who may not be aware and who didn't follow what trended in the House of Representatives, and then we'll come back to discuss the conference. I mean the
the budget,
and talk about it. Flomo Livingstone, Jazz, Romeo, Nabil, welcome, guys. It's good to have you here tonight. So Moses, let's just go straight to clip and go from there. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you, there will be no session. There will be no session. Document, Honorable Swakoko Dennis. Give it to me, don't carry it back. There will be no session. There will be no session. There will be no session, Mr. Speaker. You are the people for the agenda. There will be no session. There will be no session, Speaker. The politician is how they enter Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the politician is how they enter. You don't call the politician to enter. We don't want to see that some more politicians say politicians enter. When you enter the politician, how they enter. There will be no politician. Never follow money, the money of the city that don't go money to the she was some president that don't go second meeting. That's all. That's what I'm waiting. I will beat you if I kill them all. You sit down and debate the issue. That's why the big yes, you are civic, yes, county resident. The resident is by his auditor. He says you're free auditor. He doesn't have the expertise to express on the ground to compete your colleague. Then you say you want to insult people? Yeah. Everybody has super power.
So Moses, you want us to stop here, or
Yeah, let's stop there. You know,
Okay. I thought you were enjoying the drama. Maybe we might come back to
yeah,
it, right?
yeah, we may, you know, if we
Okay.
have some time. But
Okay. But you can see here, and some pointers I picked up in the skirmish here is
yeah,
that the Constitution is higher than the ethics. Okay.
obviously, yeah,
And I think the speaker is basing his argument probably on the ethics
ethics, yeah,
uh within the house, and Yeke is saying, get out of here. This is not about ethics. This is the budget is constitutional.
absolutely,
So let the constitution take precedence here. Then I also hear him saying, you guys created these fake allocations in the budget to steal the Liberian people money to be able to run your campaign, because apparently some of these line items are not clearly explained. And so they think that line by line, item for item needs to be articulated clearly to be able to, for everyone to vote with a consensus on
yeah.
it. And he said we need more explanation. I'm hearing somebody say we need more explanation. We need more explanation. But Moses, what do you make up of this kind of situation where every time our national budget goes to the legislature, there can be delay? Sometimes it gets passed underwater, and this is one of the prime example. And it's going to be even detrimental because we're in elections year.
Yeah.
And so whatever those monies are that cannot be clearly explained, what do you think going to happen? It goes toward all of these excess expenses that are going to put money still for a campaign. And that is why some of these opposition legislatures or legislators rather are saying that, hey, let's talk about it more.
I absolutely agree. And, you know, the argument raised by Representative Yeke Koluba and others, including Representative Roslyn Swakoko, these are legitimate arguments. And unfortunately, when you hear people say the legislature, the first branch of government, is so compromised, it just saddens me. In the House, one of the cardinal responsibility of the House is oversight, is lawmaking, and the next is representation. So if you are representing your people and this critical document comes before you, you don't read them. They say, oh, who are in favor of? And you raise your hand without any due diligence. That's hurtful. This is a national budget that's supposed to run Liberia for the year 2023. More than 700,000 US dollars. We're talking about here. Almost $1 billion. Right? All right. And you pass this budget without clearly explaining to the people what the allocations are. And after this video, we're going to come to one of the videos. And this is where I agree with the Honorable Yeke Koluba and the others. Take, for example, the Minister of Public Works she appeared before the Senate. I know we're going to come to that video, but I just want to use a situation as a glaring example in terms of what is happening at the legislature. This lady and the Minister of Finance appeared before the Senate Standing Committee on Ways, Means, and Finance. Senator Dillon asked her, Madam Minister, what is the budgetary allocation for the Ministry of Public Works? Volcano, the woman panicked. She had no clue.
The woman looking all around for people all over the place.
I'm telling you.
It took her deputy for administration to come in to save her.
To save her, and even without the data they provided was inaccurate.
Yeah.
You Minister of Public Works
jumps in the equation and say, oh, but we can't discuss the kind of thing here. We sort of go in private and have the Liberian people money you present it, and you say you can't discuss it. Where will you discuss it if you can't discuss it in the house where it has to make sense for people to say, wait a minute, these people are in our interest. You the finance minister. You prepare this final budget because every institution send their budget to you and you compile the national budget. And submit it.
Mm-hmm.
So all the discrepancies that was there, if you didn't clean them up and make sure that it makes sense and the allocations were making sense and what each institution were collecting, revenue and what they're going to spend and all of that, then people who understand it, and even in layman term, when they look at the allocations and the line item in different categories of the budget, you will see that if this budget has, I won't call it criminal intent, but corrupt intent, all right, then of course you will see that it's not making sense. And Darius Dillon started that process by asking some very poignant questions.
Yeah.
And he always comes across as the third grader, but this third grader always brings to
very intelligent.
A very intelligent third grader always bring to them who claim to be having masters and doctorate who is above a chamber. They can seem to stomach this guy.
They just can't.
And some of us started to act disrespectful, and they don't have a checkmate him. Say you can do your nonsense out there, but not in my house. You are in my house, and you respect me here in my house. And I appreciate that Dillon was able to put him in his place. How can you sit before the highest branch of government where your respect, your professionalism, your demeanor must be conformed? And you say that and you're rolling your eyes and you're carrying on and you're making it seem as though these people are insignificant. Yes, they are, because the way they present themselves. That is why this first branch of government is never respected, because of their own presentation. And Yaka Koluba has time immemorial said, this house is an embarrassment.
Absolutely.
It's an embarrassment to the Liberian people.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of those guys, look at them sitting in there. Like it's business as usual.
Of course.
All they're concerned about what's in it for me.
What's in it? It is not about the good of the country. Most of the guys, their agenda is the party must prevail. So then where's nationalism? Are they there to represent the CDC, or they are there to represent the interests of Liberia? How do you pass a national budget without due diligence? You did not look at the line items. Ministry of Information, what's your allocation? What is this money going to be used for? Ministry of Commerce, what's your allocation? What is this money going to be used for? How are we going to raise this money? Do a comparative analysis. Now you're asking for $100,000. Last year, how much did we give you?
Mm-hmm.
What did you do with that money? And now you want to increment. This is what educated people do.
Mm-hmm.
Volcano, as head of a department, how do you go to a leadership meeting to defend a budget emanating from your department, and someone asks you, Mr. Cindy, how much are we talking about? And I'm looking all over the place. My colleagues will be there, but this guy must be out of his mind. He does not even know what he's asking for. That's what happened. That's what happened in the house today. But for
And
Chimba.
and when people who discover that these things are not conform to the expectation of what the budget should be and what's in it for the people, and they bring it up, it's not because they're in a minority, but it is the same expectation on those who are partisans, representative lawmakers,
Yeah.
to think the same, that the budget should be the budget and concrete and transparent across all allocations. It shouldn't be only for one group of partisans and the rest of the people tend to suffer it. A budget is a budget, and what it covers, it has to cover everything in the true sense. And so what we find is that many of those guys just go there to be a part of the spectacles.
Mm-hmm.
There's no contribution. As you said, they don't thoroughly read those budgets when it's put before them. Spend 2-3 days soaking themselves in it, using highlighter, identify key areas where they have concerns, and when they go in there, then they do that. The time they took to argue it, all of that going back and forth and crossing over and cussing each other up, they're wasting time and not accomplishing anything in the interest of the people. But then again, Moses, it comes back to the people. They're saying these things. In past time, when you and I were boys growing up, we never had the opportunity to see what was happening in the legislature.
No.
If the news media, they didn't go there, and the one or two news media was ELBC and out of ELWA. If they didn't make it in there, then we don't get anything.
But they know what happened.
Whatever happened. But we didn't see this kind of stuff. And what these people are confused about is that at this time, everything they're doing is public.
Oh, yeah, the world has changed,
It's public.
Social media. Yeah.
So the point I want to make is that the Liberian people are seeing these people not in their interest, and yet they continue to run behind these people and yo and zegwe and continue to battle cry and put themselves into the continued quagmire they find themselves. You would think that in any civilized society where the people know what they are entitled to, would then take actions through the votes, and you will see that some of these people will be repeated in the seats, and they are offenders. They have done nothing for their constituencies, but in the dire meaning, what they're trying to do is to amass some monies so that they can use it to fool the people again and say, listen, the first time was difficult, this time we'll do it. And that's what's happening. But the Liberian people have not awakened. And what you and I are doing, and many other people are doing, is to conscientize, is to enlighten that these people have no interest in y'all. No interest in y'all. I'll give you an example before you come in. This guy by the name of Buffalo Chambers, or Buffalo Chambers. He is the Speaker of the House of Representatives. He lives on GSA Road. That area he lives in is always in the dark. He paved a little pavement to his house, to his fence, and he got his generator, and he's the only one enjoying his electricity.
Yeah. He doesn't care.
How is he fueling that generator?
Through the taxpayers, no?
Where did he get money from to pave his little area and dignify his property?
The taxpayers.
So the people live with these people and see their livelihood, they see the lifestyle, they see how they enjoy, and they still continue to run behind them and put them in power. So the Liberian people have their own problems as well. So no matter what you and I can do here, until they open up their eye and see that the poo-poo is in the pankana, they have bust the pankana to see poo-poo, and they still want to go.
There you go, bro.
Yeah. I don't know what else to tell you, Moses. I don't know what else to tell you. Jemama, Montreux, Thomas Awaji, Ram Snodden, Flomo Livingstone, Richard Hammer, Stephen Carter, all of you guys, Forge, I don't know what else to tell the Liberian people. We have done our part and we continue to do our part.
But look, if I can just come in on that, what you said, Volcano, is a graphic example of what we call someone being in an abusive relationship. You may have a husband who is very abusive, very controlling, but yet the wife, she continues to accept everything this person does to her. She acts like nothing is happening. It is only the people who are outside looking at how abusive this husband is. And that's the situation with Liberia. Our leaders, especially the current administration, is so abusive, is so insensitive to the plight of the people. And after doing all of this thing, they throw chicken change at the people. They act like they're doing them a favor. Just the renomination exercise, thousands of dollars went into that, financed by the people of Liberia. What did the CDC do? Put the people in the street, gave them free food, transported them from one region to another, and gave them a few dollars, and made them to believe that they are doing them a favor. These are entitlements. The people have the right to free health, education, employment. But they don't do that. They go in the community when they know that you are outspoken in order to silence the community. They say, oh, my man, hire the man at the Ministry of Labor as a filing clerk. It should not be on the basis of that. It should be on the basis of competence. Let everybody go through the screening process and let the opportunity be available, or let the opportunity be made available to everybody to compete. That's what happened in other civilized society. Volcano, our people are being abused on a consistent basis. So you and I here, when we watch these videos and we see people jubilating out of ignorance, and then we say, oh, our people, we just can't believe how they're behaving. That's the life. That's what has happened. That's what continues to happen. They control them like remote. Or, you bring the people. They bring them. They give them a few dollars. Volcano, you live in a country where the ordinary Liberian go for weeks for $20. And one morning they wake up, they say, everybody assemble at this town hall, everybody will be getting $20. Do you know what it means? The people are in a state of desperation. It's all about what? The immediacy. They're not looking at the long-term effect of these actions on their lives. No. They just want to eat. That's all. Find something to eat. They have no plan for the future. They have no plan for the children's future because the government is continuously robbing them of these opportunities, and they throw chicken change at them. Did you see what happened in bombing over the weekend? You should have seen that video of Volcano. People jubilating for George Weah, the man who is literally taking the country down to the ground. I mean, this is not about hatred. We're just being nationalist. Mr. Weah is grossly incompetent. He's not comparable to any African leader. He has no clue what he's doing. He's disengaged. He does not understand governance. The country is on autopilot. because he's not in charge. How do you run the country as a president? You don't hold cabinet meetings, and you want another 6 years. You submit a budget to the national legislature. Nobody reads it. Because why? They bribe other leaders. That's what happens. They bribe other leaders. So all they do, they say, oh, who are in favor? Yeah. That's what they do, Volcano.
The president cannot even read his own so-called SONA.
No.
To be prepared. So then it takes him 3.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Just the other day, Vladimir Putin had his SONA in Russia that took 1.5 hours. Okay? But our president takes 3.5 hours to read his State of the Nation's address. So it tells you that he doesn't even read the national budget before he even gets to the legislature. So it's all about, okay, my man, I'm going to bring it in, but let me just sound it to there. And he's done with it. So when the budget goes one way, the SONA goes the other way. What they fail to realize is that anytime they bring the budget up and they present this budget, it takes a while, of course, almost to a year or a little over a year for the president to address the nation. When he goes to address the nation, the same people who prepare the speech, prepare the budget, they tend to forget the disparity within the budget. And so as a result, what happens? You see the president saying one thing, according to Darius DeLong, which we'll get to, and the budget said another thing. So this is where these guys are ill-prepared. They do not understand their responsibilities and their roles. They have found free money, and so they're doing everything to get rich. They want to get so rich to the point that they tend to look in the faces of the Liberian people and deliberately lie about what those numbers are. Those numbers that they put in there cannot align with what they said those monies were put for. There's always a discrepancy in what they said they spent or what they said they gained compared to what the budget is reporting. There's always some monies missing somewhere. And this is the situation that we have to deal with as a people. And this is becoming the norm, or has become the norm. And for the Liberian people to see this happening every day in their faces, that they don't have a scene, S-A-N-E, a scene house, where everyone is in unison. Even if you are on the other side and I'm on the other side, but at least we converge on this budget to analyze it collectively, so that when we all agree to affix our signature or our vote, then it means that we can't go and say, oh, my hand was not inside. But the unfortunate thing here is that the majority group remain in control. And when the small minority of few guys who wanted to be done very well, they have a problem. And then they go amok. They run around in a house, cursing each other up, no head, no tail. And some people say, oh, this is hooliganism, this is gangsterism. But if you all were on the same page, and if you all had studied the budget prior, then you will see the areas these people are pointing, and then we can go into the argument. Look at the merits and demerits within the budget to come to an amicable resolution where all parties, irrespective of your political party, is in agreement that this budget works for the 2023 year. And that's the problem that continues to perseverate. In the meantime, if you just joining us, we'd like to welcome you here tonight to our 130th edition of our presentation here in the Issues Room. The Issues Room is your alternative social media platform designed to discuss the things that matter to Liberia, to Africa, and the diaspora. We encourage you to share our page, invite others to join us, like us, follow us, love us. We're here Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and midnight in Liberia or those countries within the Greenwich time zone. At some point, we'll change from 11 p.m., or rather from midnight to 11 p.m. when the time changes for those countries in the Greenwich time zone. But we remain constant at 7 p.m., always Eastern Standard Time. We're here Tuesdays and Fridays, as I said. Volcano, Shelton, Moses, Sandy be going in and out. I will hope that he's now stabilized. Again, sometimes we have these technological issues, but we like to encourage you. Continue to love us, like us, follow us. We're here to help enlighten our people, to help inform you, and we encourage you to participate in these discussions when we open the lines and also in the chat room so we know that you're following the conversation. We'll move now into the next segment, and this time we'd like to play the clip again from the appearance of Public Works Minister Ruth Collins, when she went to the House to make her case. And let's get this conversation going. From there, we'll look at what came out of it. Moses, I'm rolling this.
Yeah.
Thank you. Take it easy. Yeah, take it easy. Go to the beginning of the report. Go for Minister of Public Works.
So you can see they're already giving instruction to jump to places in the document. This man has combed where he wants to go, but just go to the
place.
They're already
trying to direct the man what to do. Yeah.
So let's go back.
The national budget for 2022. How much is there for public work for 2022? At the beginning of the budget.
You see the posture of the finance minister, as if to say he's sitting in his office and enjoying his AC.
Yeah.
Yeah, for the beginning of the budget, we have $23 million.
Remember, she said from the beginning of the budget,
they had $23 million.
$23 million. He asked her particularly about the 2022 budget. So this is how the budget works. When they create a document, they look at a year before, and here's the new year, and this is the justification why this budget is increased from this budget, or this is the justification why this budget is decreased from this budget. So he's trying to make comparison to see whether she's aware of what happened in 2022, and now what is about to happen in
2023. Yeah.
Are you there?
Oh, I see he's there. He's there. He's waiting for you.
We had $23 million from the budget that was passed. That's what we had there.
She continued to say $23 million from the budget that was passed. So she didn't say from the 2022. Now that she said from the 2022.
No, because she had no clue what she was defending.
So watch this.
For road fund, except for road fund.
The man asked her what was allotted for
the budget.
He didn't say what was allotted for road fund.
No.
He didn't break it down. He was very specific.
Our budget was around 50. Sorry.
See that?
I'm looking at the book.
See that?
For the sake of time, okay.
Look at Edwin Snow. You are not a criminal. Just shut up there, because he's the one keep saying for the sake of time. There is no time for the Liberian people.
Yeah, this is about the country's money. Yeah.
The activity, when it comes to the criminality, then they have all the time in the world. But when it comes to the Liberian people, there's no time for them. And they're being paid to sit over there and articulate this national budget so that when it passes, it's in the interest of the country. But he continued to say because of time. Where he has to go.
Yeah, where?
It's on the clock.
It's a critical issue for the country.
He needs to wait for the money.
Yeah.
2022 budget. 59 million. 59 million. 2023 projection. We're going to have a draft for 2023 here. It's 59 million. It's the Minister of Public Works under this money constructing roads, or this money is for maintenance and administrative costs of the to upkeep the ministry. Okay, so you got 59 million. Is the ministry constructing roads and paying for construction of roads, or roads are constructed and paid through the road fund? Okay. So of the 59 million, how much allocated of appropriated for roads construction? All the 59. And how much for administrative costs? 59 million, all of that.
So look at looking my report because
Okay, so for the sake of time.
Yes, so thank you, Senator Dillon. So during the fiscal year, a total budget of 59.912, 800 and yes, sir.
Yeah, Senator Dillon, what the minister was saying. He's the Deputy Minister of Public Works. Okay.
So, thank you, sir. So, I'm Joseph P. Todd. Thank you, sir. I'm Joseph P. Todd. I'm the Deputy Minister for Administration. So, during the fiscal year 2022, a total amount of $59,912,898 was budgeted for use by the Ministry of Public Works. During the execution of the budget was further adjusted downward as a result of the recast from 59 to $54,497,202. So, to directly speak to your question, Senator Dillon, of that amount, our personnel costs were $2.6 million.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
This budget here that I have, out of the 59 million, you got 29 million for construction services. You got 30 million for administration and management. What? So, yeah, the budget for the ministry, for the president. We gave 59 million for public works for 2022. And out of 59 million for construction of roads, you got 29 million. And then you got 30 million for administration and management. Can you explain that?
So, thank you, Senator Dillon.
So Moses, you see here, and viewers, you see here where she hollered, what?
Yeah.
Because the man already said 2.6 million is for personnel costs, which can be true.
It cannot.
It can be true. It cannot. But Dillon is saying that it's a $59 million budget. You listening?
Yeah.
He claimed that it was recasted of 54 million point something. But the budget in Dillon's hand is the budget that is accompanying the budget year of 2023, the prior budget of 2022.
Yeah, and that's what he was making reference to.
Yeah. So claiming 59 millions. And so the current budget year, right, is what he wants to make sure whether it pairs
with what happened in the past,
or whether it decrease. So $30 million out of that 59 million is used for administrative and management cost.
Right.
So they put this big banner over this money, but it doesn't get broken down. And the fear here is that he's claiming 2.6 million for personnel costs when we're talking $30 million for
administrative costs,
administration
yeah.
and management,
Yeah.
which could include personnel costs.
Mhm.
But
You know,
tell us what this
maintenance
money
and
is
all
about.
of that.
So we're
Yeah.
coming to hear what he's going to say, because again, it tells us 59 million. So if indeed they got 54 millions, then what happened to the 5 million that is not accounted for? That's where we're going to go.
Yeah, and just before you go there, Volcano, I just want to say, right, as minister or as a senior administrator, there was not an impromptu hearing. She knew in advance that she was to appear at the Senate to defend the budget. Don't you think it would have made a lot of sense? That's the essence of having what? Administrative staff. All of your people gave you the data. You review them. So that when you go to this kind of discussion, you go prepared. But you see how embarrassing it was for her? I mean, this woman panicked that she had no clue. She had no clue.
So
And
let's
these are
go to the
people that
video.
want to rule Liberia for another 6 years again. Yeah.
Thank you, Senator Dillon.
Oh, sorry.
So, of the $59 million, they will have to go in sequence. During the budget execution, the budget was further adjusted downward from 59 million to 54.9 million. Yes, sir.
Out of the 54, how much for road construction, how much for administration and management?
$47.8 million was for road construction. So personnel costs and management related activities can account for $6.6 million.
So the budget gave
So it's lies. They're contradicting what was submitted.
It's inclusive of the road funds. I just want to highlight that.
I'm not talking about road
But
fund.
the inclusivity of the road fund doesn't still add up. Moses,
No.
you're the guy now going to $47.8 million was used for road,
What road?
and $6.6 million was used for administration and management cost.
Yeah.
When Dillon has a budget that was presented by that Samuel Tower who's sitting there,
Yeah. That says
clearly indicates that what I gave to the Ministry of Public Works was 59 point something million dollars. And in breaking down fashion that the Ministry of Public Works presented to us how that money was used was $29 for road,
I mean 29 million. Yeah.
29 million for construction of roads, and 30 million was for administration and management costs.
So you see the gap? You see the
But
gap,
the deputy
Volcano?
for administration is claiming that they only got 54.
Yeah.
No, 54 million, and he broke it down. The first time he said it was 2.6 at personnel costs. Now it's 6.6 at administration and management costs. So let's go back again. Let's go back.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
So I'm speaking with you. I'm in the article with you.
Mr. President, motion for extension.
So,
Senator,
Can't keep our whole Washington.
on the 59 million that was actually budgeted, we are telling you the Ministry of Public Works received directly $31.4 million. The rest of it is the money that was actually directed through the road fund.
thank you.
So we can account for, on that, we have personnel for 2.6 million. We have our goods and services at 4 million. And then our non-financial services, which is road works, is about $24.8 million.
Have you seen the draft budget for 2023?
The 3 or 2?
2023. Have you seen it?
Yeah, we have it.
She
You see how
cannot,
embarrassed you look?
she cannot even, she asked in 2022 and make him see 2023, but she then says, yeah, we have it, yeah. But have you seen it? The question is, have you seen it?
Have you
And
seen
she
it?
cannot emphatically say, yes, I've seen the budget.
Yeah.
And she there, you can see that, you can see how
You
confident,
can see how embarrassed
Yeah,
she
but-
look.
yeah, and look at her countenance.
Yes.
She looks like a little child who you asked to say the ABC,
Yeah.
and they saying different thing
Mhm.
and what it is. Because here again, Moses, and you, our viewers, listen to this. All of these presentations continue to have changed figures.
Of course.
She just come back and say that they only
They got
$31
$31 million.
No, 31.4.
Mhm.
And in that 31.4, 24.8 went to road. So how many monies went to road? When the first time they said 29 went to road according to the budget that Dillon has, that was presented by the Ministry of Finance and the Budget Bureau. The second time he comes back, Mr. Deputy for Administration says that 47.8 went to road construction. Then she comes back and says all of that 59, that only 31.7
million we got
that we got, and only 31.4 and 24.8 went to road fund, or road construction rather, and the rest went to administration. So why all this jumping around this place, changing this figure, lying here, there, 3 times now in succession, the figures continue to change. Let's continue.
The inconsistency.
Now you got 59 million, 459, 30 million for administration and management, and 29 for road construction.
Yeah.
That 2023, in 2023 budget, they got 2022 of 10. I got it right. But I'm moving on.
So it tells you that she doesn't even know that.
No.
When the budget is rating for the year, they put in the prior year budget.
Yeah.
Okay, so that there can be some kind of relatability to see again, as I said, Moses, whether there will be an increment and the justification for that increment, or whether it's going to come back on parity or balanced and or reduce.
Yeah.
So she keep confusing herself. You said 2022 and 2023, but you know what in the budget? Right here. No, you know what in the budget? Yes, I know what in the budget. What in the budget? Then you tell. But right here, that what she doing. Let's go.
I mean, and yeah, play the video.
Senator, I'm giving you what we have and what we use as an institution. So I don't know from which content of the budget you're reading from.
I'm speaking from the from the official budget of the government.
So I use our official budget. I think we need to be careful how we interpret the official budget.
Okay, please interpret
appropriately. So
please interpret appropriately.
Yeah.
And don't give me smart talk in the
No, listen. Senator.
They said that the man is saying or suggesting that I'm not careful in what I'm reading.
Police, let me fair.
Yeah.
This is not actually what the minister is saying.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Please be careful in interpreting what he is talking about.
So before we play toy, so the woman is confused, the whole panel confused, and so he claims that I am the presider over the budget. So let's be careful, as if to say Dillon doesn't know what he's reading and what he's seeing. So it's kind of sarcastic in a way, and Dillon is trying to make sure that it doesn't get started, because now he can see the confusion. He's ready to articulate his lies with bold face, as he's always done. Samuel has always done this. Even on platforms he gone to.
He lies about almost
everything. So let's listen to him now.
The minister, he said we should carefully interpret.
Yes,
so please carefully interpret.
The minister is telling you how much you get in salary, administrative cost. You're looking at the budget and you're telling her, the minister of finance is giving you 20 times more than you say you're paying salary. So the public is hearing that public salary at 25 million. And I'm telling you, if you look at our budget, both Minister of Finance, these people fight for money to the Ministry of Finance. So maybe there's small things that we need to figure out there how to read the budget.
You have not carefully explained the issue of racism.
Administrative cost is not telling me that public one. That's what I'm saying.
So the budget you presented to me, the Senate gave a completely different direction.
Look at the budget. We don't want to take this is a public hearing. This is not necessary right now. When I go through the budget and look at that, I will look through it.
Listen to this excuse. This is a public hearing, so it is not necessary. But where does the budget get
scrutinized
and argued? It's
in
at
the
a
chamber
public hearing, because the chamber is the Liberian people chamber, and they need to know why these conversations are about and being held, and it must be in their interest, their sole interest. This finance minister, what he did was, apparently, because I did a whole semester on the budget, he only probably put a whole bracket and then and say administrative,
he just gave bulk numbers,
administration and management 30 million.
Yeah.
And what the other one? 29
administrative costs.
No, 29 road construction.
For road construction, yeah.
Then I don't know if they clearly broke that 30 million down per resource material, like for personnel operation, vehicle, all of those things, whether it's there.
They should have been broken
but even
down.
at that, Moses, I don't think Dylan's argument has to do with how this money was used. What Dylan is concerned about, you telling us 54 million here, but this budget is saying 59 million. You came back, you say 47.8 million. Then you come back later, you say 31
million. Now what you got?
Yeah. So there's I think this is where Dylan is concerned about. So let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if the public hearing is intended for that.
No, I mean, you want to know that.
Yeah, so we're going back home and we reconcile. But I don't think the public should see me going, sitting down with you and looking and explaining. Not good. I just want to say that.
Please. Can you close on your? Can you close on your? Thank you. I want to also note that we provided appropriated 59 million for public work, and the breakdown seeing the budget right is. Madam Minister, may I ask you, Madam Minister, if you can recall? Please go ahead, Senator. Thank you. What the quantity the kilometer road in our national road network that we inherited all of this administration, and where are we now?
Yeah. Another salient question.
The banner before you have read, I give a summary.
She does not even know.
The total road network in the country is 13,000. That's what I said.
What did you inherit?
She has no clue. Minister of Public Works. You see how confused she looked? You see that? Gross incompetence.
We still have 12 senators on the list. I know we had time.
Volcano. Volcano. You see how your Minister of Public Works looked?
Yeah, Moses, just hold on. I'm trying to. I want to get the numbers.
Okay.
You see the man Yanni and all the December 12 man Yanni disengaged.
Completed.
Because he's a money man. He all of those guys are in his pocket.
Yeah. See that?
You can the chair of the Ministry of Public Works Honorable Ernest issues of borrow.
They said the question hard. She said, no, it's not hard, but she can't answer it. She just said, and listen to this funny thing, Moses. Here's the Public Works Minister who just deliberated in the preliminary, providing this information. And she doesn't even remember what she said, even though she claims that 13,000 kilometers of roads, who, as I said, I did a conversion, is about 8,000 plus in miles.
Yeah.
But what did you inherit as a government?
As a government,
and what did you need there? Those were the elementary, rudimentary questions that she should have known by heart over the last 5 years.
Of course.
You understand me? But let's continue.
Yeah. That listen.
And she,
we have 13,000.
You see that? She's reading from someone else's laptop.
That only 6% of that road network was paved. 94% were left unpaved. More besides, let me just split down to small because I thought
Look at that.
So all that 6% we sum it up. We said 43, we met 543 kilometers, which is 25%, from the inception of this country. And up to date is now to 42%, which have carried us to 991 kilometers.
Let's stop there. This is preposterous at the highest degree, Moses. When this woman sits here and say that 543 kilometers out of 13,000. So you're telling me that if we extrapolate 543 kilometers, which if I did the conversion would be very less in miles, she's telling me that
they'll build more roads.
That out of 13,000 kilometer, only 543 kilometers were paved from 1847 to 2017.
The people did nothing. Okay.
What's wrong with it?
And Volcano, even listen, DeLong is again, even George Weah. What she reported, George Weah report to the legislature contradicted her. Just watch the video a little bit.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
So we were at 546 kilometers. Today, we are at 941 kilometers.
My minister, the president, I'm not members copy of which I have in my hands.
You see that?
When we commenced our leadership, the total paved road in our national road network was only 746 kilometers.
See that?
Throughout the entire country, representing less than 5% of the network. Today, we have increased this number to 1,375 kilometers with an additional 436 kilometers paved in primary road category alone.
You see that?
If you talk,
well, let's stop there, Moses. I don't think she understands figures. And that is why she's suffering. You see what is here? 13,000. She claims 13,000 kilometers. What's his name? George Weah said 1,300. 1,300 is different from 13,000.
Yeah.
1,300 means 1,375.
Yeah.
1,375.
Yeah.
So he claims that when they inherited the country in 2017, only 746 kilometers of roads were paved in Liberia, less than 5%.
Yeah,
and
they increased that to 13. Yeah, and they increased
this lie.
Of course,
extreme lie. Then they have added in 436 kilometers of paved road.
Do you see the inconsistency?
So let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
From 1375.
So let me just say.
So the one is actually this last. Please.
If you talk 745,
Senator Lawrence.
If you talk 745 from 1375, you have 630. If you add the 336, you will have 1,600 kilometers of road paved under this administration. Am I understanding this correctly?
Honorable Senator, what you need to know is that we talk about pavements, we have alternative seating, of which is not far part of what we're talking about. We have chip seal, we have color roads.
She's going strictly into 10-meter top.
Inclusive of what the person should go. If you just go downward, You'll see line by line other alternative pavement we're talking about. So of that one is the primary pavement of road connectivity we're talking about.
Exactly the point. So then they're not a time to go. Okay, move to the next thing.
And our Volcano, I would just like to comment on that. You can see that the Minister of Public Works actually underperformed. She went to the hearing completely, unprepared. She had no clue what she was doing. She presented numbers that did not add up. She even threw the Minister of Finance on the bus. She said, look, we got only $31 million. You're talking about $59 million. We got only $31 million. So then what happened to the rest of the money? This woman was so confused. And this woman is what? A senior minister in the Weah administration. So if you had the Minister of Public Works being so confused, not knowing what to do, then what happens to the mayor at the top? Who many believes that he's not educated as compared to the Minister of Public Works. Even though he claims to have a master's degree.
I think Moses, the disconnect here and the sad part of everything that our country is going through, you would think that Mr. Weah, who is limited, he said he got master's degree, he got bachelor's degree, all of those degrees we know how they were attained. You don't go to school to become president.
No.
The people say I didn't know books, so I got bachelor, I got master. You don't go to school to become president. Right?
Yeah.
You either already had it. So if your intent was to go to school to learn to become president, then it's a whole different ball game.
Right.
But you would think that the president will hold these people accountable to the point where they will not come out there and create this kind of embarrassment. This is a serious embarrassment on the part of the Public Works Minister, who is sitting before the first branch of government and the people and cannot represent the executive branch.
No.
That she's leaning on her deputy. And the finance minister is, usurping the opportunity to muddy the water and create a situation to intimidate DeLong.
Yeah.
And DeLong is saying, listen, I'm on my turf. I didn't come to the finance minister to ask for gas slip. You are in my territory and you must conform. Don't bring that attitude thing here. Then he said, but I didn't know that the public hearing is supposed to be for that kind of thing. No, the public hearing is for it. It's for it. So Moses will open the lines now and before we go to the next stuff. But this tells you the incompetence, the degree of incompetence at many levels in this government. And not to say the entire government, we don't have people who are, able to perform their responsibilities, but the number is small because now they're consumed and absorbed, and so they can't shine as they should shine because
when you shine more than the president, then you're going to run into trouble. To be able to coexist with people in this administration, you have to pretend to be stupid. Other than that, they will let you go.
Yeah. So the number to call 404-272-2808, 404-272-2808. Listen, we want to hear from some of you guys here tonight. Let's call and let's have this conversation quick as we probably proceed to the next video. So we're going to go to the next video, and this is about the $800,000 that was made available through the United States government for health services in Margibi County, and that money has disappeared. And in fact, the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare hasn't done anything yet, no probe. So let's see what is coming from this video as presented.
Head of the Margibi, I know he will be the head of the Margibi County Community Health Department, Mr. James Tamavani, who who will be speaking to us on the issues involving the 800,000 allegedly that was tested by him.
Can you imagine, my man? So more time library the man went who
in that particular money issue. Good morning, Mr. Fanny, and welcome to this interview.
Good morning for the press, the estate, and the peace-loving people.
Well, I will pause the video here. Let's take this caller quick. If the caller is calling for the issue regarding the last two videos we played, or the topics, the topics within the discussion. Okay. Caller from Charlotte, North Carolina. Number, your name?
My name is Pastor Mo, and I'm calling from Charlotte. Good evening to the both of you there in studio.
Thank you.
Welcome, Pastor.
Let's give you at least 2 minutes quick, because we want to go back to that video.
Yeah, it is unfortunate and it is sad, very sad, that we have a bunch of criminals leading our country, and they are not developing the country, but they are enriching themselves. And in this too many arguments, my only prayer for Liberia is that after this election, these people should not leave Liberia until they are investigated. And every wrongdoing, let them give account. That's the only way our country will move forward. Otherwise than that, I don't see Liberia moving forward. But I strongly believe our country is going to move forward. And we hold these people, including George Weah, accountable for their time of service in Liberia. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Tell us your involvement with this 800,000 United States dollars that was given to the Magidi County Community Health Department, allegedly stolen or eaten by you guys.
Oh, let me just tell you that to just come up with the basis of the information, there was no 800,000 given to Magidi by the ministry.
No 800,000?
No 800,000
given to
Magidi County Health by the ministry.
By the Ministry of Health.
By the Ministry of Health.
So are you saying they are falsely accusing you?
And it's falsely. We are falsely accused.
So money was given?
Yeah, money was given.
Money was given. Who was the money given to?
Okay. To just start with 2022, we signed a contract with Farah. And we presented our operational plan to the ministry. The ministry said we're going to roll you people out to the NGO or Farah. And I'm aware because I'm the Community Health Department Director. I'm aware of the issue because I will call a general meeting for discussion. And we will call in Bikina. We'll call in Bikina to come up with our plan and sign the contract. In Bikina last year in January, we signed a contract with Farah. Proportionally, so we are 800 plus hours in the country. We went into operation with our own plan. Like me, my function as a community health department director, I don't deal with cash. Even if I'm informed on the cash basis, I don't deal with the cash. I only accept what I receive my material and operate on the service delivery portion of that money. The nation receive material and drop the material to my facility because I supervise 67 to 68 facilities in my given country. I supervise the communities. So for those reasons, when we went in Nimba, while we went in Brown Bar, so we signed this contract, we started the road of the Farah. Proportionally, the agreement was that they would give all this money quarterly. Every quarter they gave us 200,000. Every quarter they gave us 200,000 plus. Every quarter they gave us 200,000 plus. After a month plus, we asked our CHO in the general meeting, but that we're not hearing nothing about the Farah business, the money is not coming. The people said that money issue is high and there is no money at the ministry yet, and the people they're running after the money. All of a sudden, we called another general meeting, telling us I don't think we'll receive per the plan in Bikina. So instead of 25% receiving all the money for 4 quarters, maybe they will give you 10 or 9% of the 25% for the quarter. So the Farahs are rowing. Under the rowing of Farah, we have the selection of the vendors. The minister was the one who selected the vendors with the representation of our procurement officer. They spent 3 months selecting a vendor at the ministry. I don't know vendor. I don't know none of it. So at the end of the day, they restricted this money, the later portion they gave, but they restricted this money, saying that every goods that is so purchased above 10,000 must be purchased by the ministry, under the supervision of the ministry. It will not be purchased by the county. So I said, but I thought the money had to come from other. But I said, no. So they restricted us. The country only able to buy 10,000. For evidence of that, the motorbike they were buying, the 15 motorbike they still buy, 15 to 20 motorbike they still buy Yamaha. They stay at the ministry, they stay purchasing that motorbike sent last year to the ministry. They don't bring that motorbike. They found that money they discussed.
Was there any reason given for the restriction?
The restriction that the country was not qualified or was not capable enough to handle such a money and they open the purchase line. So on the 10,000. So when the issue came out, we went in Nima year end. We raised the issue from 2022 all the way to December. January, December, we raised the issue about the year end. Why did Margibi County never receive that money? In Nimba, the meeting was hosted in Nimba. The minister was there, represented. The deputy minister was represented. Nomu Howard, who was represented. All the people, the hierarchy of the ministry were represented there in Nimba. We said, why we not receive the money? And we saw wrong program. You know what they put to us? Because of money, financial issues and other things, you got the program and the money, shut the other thing, and speak other thing. Our boss man got vexed in our meeting that are funny. He said, gentlemen, okay, I said, but that most of the things I was stipulated for the year was never met. And they told us that the money. But then, after the audio, they went and said, so one gentleman said he had 2 hours, 50-minute audio, but he extracted 5-minute audio from there, keeping it. So when Paul made him there, he will release the original audio. So we asked him, so the other audio you release, I will duplicate audio.
Who was saying this?
One Yawa Jamin. So it means you recorded, according to you have evidence of 2 hours, 10 minutes, 50 minutes. But you want to reduce 5 hours, you reduce 5 minutes. You listed 7% of Trumpet Africa being in meeting, discussing about money consumption, but you get 5% in the audio discussion. Where's the remaining 2%? When we got the minister, we were recalled with letter. When we got to the minister, we asked the minister, you inviting us for the audio or you inviting us to kind of invite to audit us? They said, we're not auditing you people. If I said, there's the audio we send it to LCC, we asked them, oh, you send the audio to LCC? What would be our charges when we go there? Why you not audit us to know that say, oh, you got internal audit, the ministry have internal audit. They have other audit firm that they can audit other countries. Why in this money you say you get 800,000? We should never get you admitted in this month December that the money never get because of financial constraint. So the ministry told us that the financial constraint today they agree with the people of 800,000. They said, but this thing is very criminal. If you don't give your child $50 US, you give your child $50 liberty to go in the market and somebody come and say, oh, your child lost $200, you give him. The first thing your man know, I never give my child $200. But I will ask my child for the $50 I give them. That's a clarification. But to tell the public that you give us 800,000, I challenge it. We never received 800,000. I call on the American government and the government to prompt him immediately. The American people said that they want immediate investigation. My brother, up to now, going to 3 weeks, nobody has called out this statement for us.
So, Moses,
yeah,
we got time. Let me just point out something before we go into the conversation. Quickly, Moses. So, $800,000 American government money. And they know when people get that money, they'll be drawing. They know when you pull rope, pull bush.
Yeah.
They get $800,000 for Margibi County health services. They didn't give money. The guy is very serious here. He's saying it. So they wanted to do their own vending, baiting.
Decided, they decided to do the whole vending.
20 motorbikes, none was delivered.
Yeah.
From January, apparently this money was given up to December last year, 2022. They raised the issue in Nima County, and then the ministry said, "Oh, we had constraints, so apparently we used the money for something else." So most of the service delivery intended for that money was not utilized. And so the guy is saying that they have asked the American government to probe the matter, and the American government now is on this government to probe the matter, and as yet they have not gotten called or anything. Moses, President Weah is playing with fire. When it comes to these people money, when they give it to you for an intended purpose and you fool around with it, then you know what's going to happen. And even some of our compatriots and brothers who in this country, some of the guys who go and do fraudulent stuff, tax this, that, getting money from this means and that means, as you can see what's happening right now. I don't have to tell you, with the many Liberians who continue to be deported as a result of these things. Out of government, you need to hold your folks accountable. You would think that at this point, somebody is placed on suspension and the probe has begun. The guy is saying they never got the money and they have deprived the people the service that was due them as a result of goodwill gesture. Come in, Moses.
But look, just to add on to what you said, right?
Let me see. I'm receiving a call from.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Hey, good evening, Francis. Are you calling to contribute?
Oh, you on your show now?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought firing my other friend.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So as I was saying, you listen to the gentleman. The health ministry accusing of misappropriating $800,000 United States dollars of the money. The ministry says that the money was used for the unintended purpose. The man comes to say, when the Americans raised the red flag about this money, the ministry went ahead and suspended them and recalled them. They say, hey, we'll institute a probe. When they show up to the ministry allegedly told them, oh, well, we will send the audio to the LACC. The man says the ministry has its own internal audit team. And I think that's what happened in any civilized society. When you're instituting a probe, you probe within first before you go to the national level, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
He says, since the incident, nobody has asked any question. They told the people, y'all go to LACC. They went to LACC. LACC say, hey, we don't operate like that. Y'all go back, let them do their audit, and then later we will get involved. Nobody has done that. And according to him, the ministry even put in place a restriction in terms of how much they could expend as a county. For then, the max in expenditure that they could make was what? 10,000 United States dollars. Anything beyond that, it has to go through the ministry authority. The guy said the ministry promised to provide what? 15 motorbikes. And according to him, since last year, the motorbikes have not been delivered. The cash not delivered. But yet, it's the same ministry now comes up to say, we are investigating. Who are you investigating? Like you said, if you are investigating, how long is this going to take? And the man is now challenging the ministry to say, hey, if you say we committed a crime, investigate us. Man, Volcano, the situation is so sad. The level of dishonesty in the country is so pervasive.
And I see why
it's so pervasive.
Francis do not term these guys as indigenous looters. Look at the configuration or the construct of the government today. You would think that these are the grassrooters. These are the people who claim to have been, at the end, the hot end of the rod. Now they're handed the cold end of the rod, and they can't do nothing for the poor mama Liberia. But they beat their chest. That's our country here. That's our country here. Nobody can run us from here. But yeah, you in the power now. What are you doing really for the country? I sit many days and just, go in my mind and say, listen, I am aged now to know what Liberia was when I was a lad and to know what Liberia is now. And I haven't seen the change. You can make the comparison of the Roberts International Airport to Monrovia. What has changed on that highway?
Nothing.
What has changed?
But
You
in
can
fact-
look at Monrovia itself. What has changed?
Volcano, the only change we have seen is that the condition has declined considerably.
I talk
Roberts
about change in the
Interna-
good.
Yeah, the
what
Roberts
we're seeing.
International
And this president
highway
is
has
saying
become
come
a
for
death
change.
trap. It has become a death trap. Yeah.
And I'm not blaming we are alone, but when he tend to take all the credit that he is the best president, Baku, you strong, then I would blame him for what he hasn't done in 5 years.
And
So where are these indigenous boys taking our country? Go look at the house. Look in the house. Look in the Senate.
So country boys.
Look in all of the ministries. Look at the Supreme Court. Look at the judges.
So country boys, indigenous boys.
So you got the country and you take it down the drain, down the gutter?
It's
You
about
took this country since 1980 in your claim, and this is how you're treating it? And you really think that that this is how
Well, this is about personal ego for Canada. It's all about themselves. Like you said, everybody just want to do whatever they can to make sure that they are okay. And you cited the speaker as a graphic example. He lives in a community. The entire community is in darkness. He has his house with 24/7 electricity. He's contented with that. He doesn't care what happened to his neighbors. And he forgets to know that for the fact that the place is in darkness, his own personal safety is in danger. Because criminals do not go to places. Criminals do not go to places where you have, a light. They operate in darkness.
But they're not going to go to him. They're going to the poor people who sleeping with jack-o'-lantern and candle. That's the people they're going to.
Many guys,
the road they didn't care. They go to wherever they can go. But Moses, that's the disconnect. When these guys have inherited our country, and look at them. They sit there with big stomachs.
Mm-hmm.
They get out of that house accomplishing nothing. They get in the SUVs and put Serene on, and they run to places of insignificance.
Yeah.
Because they stop at most of the drinking spot and chill. And that's how they're running the country.
Yeah.
So Moses, it's sad, but we gotta go. We
gotta go. And let me wrap it on this note. Like you said, unfortunately, we'll have a president, and I don't mean to be condescending, but I just want to call it a spade. We'll have a president who is delusional, completely out of touch with reality. He lives in fantasy. He lives in a dream world. He's the least when it comes to leadership. But yet he erroneously believes that his Liberia, the best of president Liberia has ever produced. Can you imagine that, Volcano? You have a student who is performing at an F level. But this student erroneously believes that he's the best
Well, he's
in
the
the
deuce.
classroom. Yeah, he's the deuce of the class. Isn't that a graphic example of delusion? The man lives in a dream world. And that's how I would like to wrap it tonight.
Thank you, Moses. Thank you, everyone, for joining us here tonight. We appreciate your time. We hope we were able to enlighten, to articulate, and show some of the flaws, the ongoing issues trending in our country. And these are the very people who continue to ascend to the highest podium of leadership in Liberia and still want to enjoy another 6 years. All of our conversation is leaned toward our national elections coming up October 10th. This is the period where Liberians can now begin to dissect, to discern, to look at the issues and look at the matters in grave ways so that they are sure that at the end of the day, the country is first. We want to thank all of you for joining us here tonight. God Anointed, Favorite Moore, Rachel Hamill, Jesse Farmer, Ram Snutton. Good to see all of you folks here. Thomas Awaji, thank you so much for joining us. Ednis Barkley Yoon, Bennett O'Connor, J.S. Romeo Nabil. Thank you, Midfield Deco, Raymond Clark, Bennett O'Connor, Amma Fremont. It was good seeing you here tonight, my brother. You Montro, Krenga, Flomo Livingstone, just all of you, Fergie Monyu. We say thank you for joining us here tonight. It's just been a concern when we see these kinds of things and not discuss them, because again, how would our people be informed if they're not enlightened? They got to see it in graphic, and we got to break it down to the lowest. And I think that we were able to do something with those videos here tonight. Mapu Hall, thank you so much. Yes, Liberia is in a big mess, and it's sad. Ted Banks, thank you for coming through. William Carter, and also Jemima Cisco, thank you for joining us here tonight. Stephen Carter as well. It was good having all you folks. We'll be back here on Friday. In fact, let me see if Moses Sandy is still in queue.
Yeah, I'm here.
And quickly,
yeah.
Friday, we're going to be memorializing one of our fallen sisters in the Association of Liberian Journalists in the Americas, ALJA.
Marisa.
Yes. So we'll be finalizing that production and get ready for Friday. Again, it's not all about politics. Marie has been a member of ALJA up to her death. She took sick, and her ailment, she was diagnosed with what, cancer?
Cancer, yeah. She had cancer.
And she fought her battle, and God called her to rest. So we want to memorialize our fallen sister, a videographer and you know, a journalist that worked at the Ministry of Information. So we'll be holding a memorial conversation. We'll be bringing some of the ALJA folks here in studios to discuss you know, her life and her burial plans and all of that in the first week of March, I believe. So again, thank you so much. We'll be catching up Friday. Moses, good seeing you. Let's go tonight.
Yeah, thank you. Look forward to being back on Friday. Thank you for Canada. Enjoy. Bye-bye.